Cannoli are Sicilian pastries made from hand-kneaded dough that is deep-fried, then filled with a zesty, sweet, creamy ricotta filling. Here's how the master herself, Claire Saffitz, makes these little tubes of heaven. As always, ingredients will be in the description, and thank you so much for your support. I'm going to start with the pastry shells first. I'll combine 1 cup of all-purpose flour, 2 tablespoons of granulated sugar, a half teaspoon salt, a half teaspoon cinnamon, then 1 ounce of lard. Yes, lard. You can also use refined coconut oil, but trust me, it's better with lard. At room temperature, the lard's going to be solid, so I'm going to slice this up into tiny pieces with 2 butter knives. I'll speed this up a bit, and we want them to be about the size of lentils, very small. The lard is what's going to help these shells become really crisp and flaky. I'll switch to a pastry blender to really break it up, then I'm going to add some egg. I'll crack this in a bowl, and yep, there's a little bit of shell in there. That's embarrassing, you didn't see that. Give that a quick whisk. Then I'll add in about 1 tablespoon. The rest I'll save for later use. Lastly, I'll add 1/4 cup of dry white wine. Yes, that is correct, white wine. And with a spoon or whatever you have, I'm going to bring that together. It's going to be kind of shaggy at first, but that's totally fine. I'll combine this about as much as I can, then dump it all out onto the counter. Now I'm just going to bring this all together with my hands until it forms a nice cohesive ball of dough. I'll lightly knead it just so everything is evenly incorporated. It doesn't need to be perfectly smooth. It's going to be a little lumpy and rough, but that's okay. And here's my little ball of dough. So far, so good. I'll cover this with Saran Wrap and let it rest in the fridge overnight. It only needs about a couple hours, but I do like to make the dough ahead of time, so now on to the filling. So traditionally, cannoli filling is made from sheep's milk, but turns out that can be a little tricky to find here in the States, so I'm just going to use whole milk ricotta cheese. I'm also preparing the ricotta the night before, because I want to drain off some of that extra whey. Whey is that white liquid you always see in the bottom of the tub. That way we're working with mostly solids here. I'll use a fine strainer for this. I'll try to press as much of it out as I can, then let gravity do the rest. And here's my ricotta the next morning. I don't show it here, but you can also press the ricotta completely through the strainer for a finer, smoother texture. I'll add 2 teaspoons of honey. I'll use my spoon to get the rest of this out. Then I'll add 2 teaspoons of vanilla paste. You can also use vanilla extract, but I do prefer the paste. I'll add a pinch of salt. I'll add about a half teaspoon of lemon zest, followed by a half teaspoon of orange zest. That's really going to give it a nice citrusy kick. But before we toss that lemon away, I'll squeeze in about a teaspoon of juice. So we're not quite done yet. I still need to add the sugar. But I do like to mix it up at this point just to see where the flavor's at. You may want to adjust with a little more salt or zest, but I'm happy the way it is, so I'll go ahead and add 1 cup of confectioners sugar. Give that a healthy mix until everything is combined. This filling is so delicious. It's sweet, it's tangy, it's just perfect. Now I'll add all of this to a piping bag, twist the top, then set that aside in the fridge until we're ready to use it. Alright, so here's the dough that's been resting in the fridge. I'll take this out, sprinkle a little bit of flour on my cutting board, and I'm going to roll this out into a rough oval. With a rolling pin, I'll begin to flatten it out, working all sides so it's somewhat uniform. We'll speed this up a bit. A 5.5-inch round dough cutter is ideal, but if you don't have one, it's okay. I'm just using a glass bowl that has a similar diameter. I'll place this down, then slice the dough using a pizza cutter. I'll use the dough scraper to pick up the excess dough, and we'll reuse that for more shells. Then I'm just going to flatten this out a little bit more. Depending on the thickness of the dough, I can usually create anywhere from 4 to 8 shells. I do prefer mine a little bit on the thicker side, so I'll probably end up with about 6. I'll then use my cannoli pipes, which I ordered on Amazon by the way for like $6. I'll place the link in the description. Place the pipe in the center, and then I'll just grab one end of the dough and fold it over. Then going back to some of that leftover whisked egg, I'll brush a little bit of wash on one side, essentially using it like a glue, then bring the other side over and lightly press it so it holds, and this should be ready to go. So I'm going to use peanut oil for this, and heat it to about 350 degrees Fahrenheit. I'll carefully place each one in. It's best to work in batches here. I usually fry about 4 at a time. Make sure to watch these carefully, because they cook rather quickly. They only need about 3 or 4 minutes, or until they're nice and golden brown. At that point, I'll remove these one at a time, shaking off any excess oil. And here we are, freshly deep-fried pastry shells. Unlike the ricotta that can be made the night before, the shells are best when fried the same day. As you can see here, mine are not perfect, but I think that's what helps make them special. No two are alike. I'll go ahead and fill these with ricotta cream, then I'll top mine with some mini chocolate chips and a couple others with chopped pistachios. Fill from both ends until the cream meets in the middle. I'll fill the rest of these. Then I'll add my chocolate and my pistachio. That's just my preference though. Feel free to get creative. You can literally put just about whatever you want on these. The absolute last thing that I'll do is dust it with confectioners sugar. And that's it. Try out this recipe. Like I said, it's from Claire Saffitz, and when it comes to desserts, she is the word. I appreciate all of you for watching. Ingredients will be listed in the description. Once again, don't forget to like and subscribe, and thank you guys so much.